Well done. Okay, in 3.
Wait, where are we filming it? Right here, right?
Oh, right there. Jack's in the background. Hey, Jax. Who's in the background?
It's okay. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hi, guys. It's Allan.
And Houstan?
We're back with another podcast today.
Yes, we are doing the program today, as you can see. Now, this seems kind of surprising, right? We're finally talking about Halloween again.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we're still fans of Halloween. You probably would have no clue because we haven't posted anything in roughly about a year.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more.
For all the OG fans that have been here since the beginning, believe it or not, the program was around the time of when we were really on the topic of Halloween. And believe it or not, our very first video was about I believe, the trailer for Halloween Ends.
Yes.
And then our most popular video was our review of Halloween Ends, really mere moments after watching it.
Yep. And then that was it. So a lot of people might be wondering, was Halloween Ends the culprit behind Allan and Hoostan's hatred towards Halloween? And then we never came back. Well, the truth is, to answer that question, we got to first say hello to the dog.
That's my dog, Jax.
There's that dog just walking. I think that's isn't it?
That's Jax.
Jax? Okay.
Jaxie! Here!
There he is. He likes Halloween.
Yeah, right? You like Halloween, Jaxie? Yep, that's a yes.
Yep. Sweet. So, we are still into it.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, we've been caught up with a lot of other stuff. A lot of series have come and gone. So now we can finally settle down and go over Halloween.
Yeah.
So the big news is, a lot has changed since our last podcast. Our last podcast we did on Halloween, I should be more specific. The last time we mentioned Halloween, which was a year ago, the biggest news you had was that Halloween Ends was around. Well, now that the smoke is cleared, we were able to find out the next plan, the next phase of Halloween as a franchise. As you know, this Halloween film was aired on Peacock. Get it on there. That's the way I think me and AJ watched it, or Allan. We watched it on Peacock.
Yes.
So now with Peacock owning the streaming rights to Halloween, they had to quickly decide what they were going to do with the series. So that's where we came up with, that's not where we came up with, that's where Halloween as a franchise came up with the idea to do a TV show. So we've known about this for, I think it's got to be almost a year within itself. Almost, yes. So we haven't been able to comment on it. So now, today, we're going to be commenting on it. We don't really know a lot about the specifics. We don't know if there's any updated information quite yet. Nothing big has came up, at least of the recording of this. We just know that something is in the works. Based on our movie knowledge, we have both seen, I would say we've both seen all the films almost, right?
Yes. For me, some of the films I've seen multiple times. Some of them, I think it was like only 1 or 2 in the entire franchise. I've only seen like first watches. Like I've only seen them one time. But yes, we have seen all the movies.
Yep. So we're going to be taking our knowledge of the films, of course, dust it off. It's been a little while even with that. And we're going to kind of analyze what we believe the Halloween TV show is going to be about. And roughly, what do we think of the whole concept of it? Any sort of complaints we have, or any sort of things we wish we'd like to see. So it's just a general discussion. Nothing is fact-based in this. This is just merely our opinions on it. So if you don't want to hear about this and you want to see something facts-based, you're at the wrong thing. This is us doing a casual conversation about Halloween.
Our opinions, it's not going to be 100% accurate. This is just what our thoughts are and what we would maybe like to see.
Yep.
Nothing accurate. Again, it's just our opinions, our look on it. So please just don't take our word for it 100%.
Yep, this is just our casual conversation. As me and Allan are friends and casual fans of the Halloween franchise. Well, maybe a little bit more than casual because we watch them a lot.
Mostly in the season.
During the season. So yeah, again, in typical Allan and Hoostan fashion, we're completely off season with this. Like we've technically were originally. So yeah, but why not talk about it? So here we go. Our casual conversation on it. So, what do we think about this? What do you think about this? A TV show. Do you think that's a great idea? Do you think they should like maybe stick with just movies? Maybe is that the time?
See, I'm all for a TV show, but I feel like also a way I look at it is it depends on the character itself. Because look at Chucky, right?
Yeah.
Chucky is honestly a good fit for a TV show because Chucky has like a unique personality. He's got like the humor, especially like the really fucked up, twisted one, but he also has that thrilling like horror edge to him that makes him a menacing villain. For Michael, it's like I could see it work, but the thing is, though, the way I look at it is, like, how would they do it where, okay, so I can see, like, they would get the other characters, like, whatever characters, whether it be, like, I don't know, for example, let's just say, for example, Allison is in it, right? And they can get different characters, and they can kind of, like, do, like, dialogue, and, like, a lot of these shows where, like, certain things, different things are happening with different characters, but also Michael's involved, even though, like, it would mostly be about Michael. I just don't, again, I don't know, because Michael is a villain who is an emotionless being. He never shows emotion. He never, like, speaks. He never really does any really, like, normal human actions. He's really just, like, a being who just does what he does just for the simple reason of it, you know. I don't know how they would pull that off. So it's like, okay, if they do like for a TV show an episode, like, so how they would do it, they're trying to hunt down Michael's going around and like other things are happening, but Michael happens to be involved. I just don't see how that will work unless maybe they pull it this way. Then it could be smart. They kind of set the TV show maybe around events of a certain movie in the franchise. Like maybe they could do it like, for example, where it's like, okay, like I just honestly thought of this now. What if they did the TV show based on like the events between Halloween 2 and 4? Because in the timeline you get 1 and 2, and then the anthology film, Season of the Witch, comes out, and then 88 Halloween 4 comes out. And we know that in that one of the protagonists, Jamie Lloyd, aka played by Danielle Harris, shows she is related to Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode. She plays the niece of Laurie, and she has a picture of her which insinuates that she got into a car accident. So maybe they could do is in this kind of universe where they could take the TV show, maybe they could show how she dies in the car crash, and maybe we could show like Michael chasing after her, you know, or whatever. They could do something like that. But if they're doing like a clean slate, I just don't see, me personally, how they could pull that off unless they maybe have something, and if they explain it more, then maybe it makes sense. But this, again, a broad idea of Halloween, Michael Myers TV show. I don't know. I wouldn't know how that worked, because we all know Michael is the guy who, again, never talks, just literally goes and kills people, and that's it. Never shows any emotion. So I just, I wouldn't see, and I really don't see how that would work.
I think you brought up a very good point. No, honest to God. Chucky is a great example, as he said, that you could have Chucky be the main character of his own series, but to have Michael being a main character in the series as a TV show, does he have enough power to kind of hold his own? I get that. Personally, when I first heard TV show, I already had this mentality it wasn't going to be that great. TV shows tend to have a lower production quality. Now, I don't know why that specifically is. I imagine there's a little cheaper to do a TV show than a movie. But I already get like, maybe they're going to cheapen it out. Now, there are some rare instances like the Chucky TV show that Allan mentioned, I think that was really great. I actually like the Chucky TV show. So that was well done. You know, it's kind of arranged in a way that a movie would be. So I feel like we're kind of stepping away from just because it's a TV show doesn't mean it's going to be bad. You could have a cinematic TV show. But they're really going to have to do their homework with it, is kind of the thing.
I agree.
The way I could see it working is, as Allan mentioned, him being more of a background character. Now, we've seen this before, and most of the films, he really is a background character.
And that's what, real quick, that's what a lot of people did not like about Halloween Ends. He was basically just a background character while they focused on another character, which really didn't have any significance to the film. Like, if they kind of tied him in better, like if they tied Corey better, then yeah. But again, they just got this character out of nowhere. And then the majority of the film, Michael's just not even in it. He's really in it in like the mid towards the end of the film.
True. I think the thing is, based on what I have seen, is that Halloween Ends was, well, it was the end of that trilogy of films. So I don't see them continuing the Gordon Green trilogy because they hyped it up that was the end of that trilogy. They're not going to revive it. Maybe many years down the road, you know, like how they tend to do with a lot of things. There might be a legacy sequel, you know, like how they did for Halloween 2018 was a legacy sequel for the original one from 78. You know, there's still room for that down the road, but as of right now, Halloween Ends just came out like 2 years ago. There's no reason that they're going to kind of grow from that. And I don't think the viewership was all there for Ends either. I can definitely tell you the fan backlash was extreme. So I don't see them. There's a lot of things in favor of a clean slate as opposed to taking what we had from the Gordon Green trilogy. You know, I think that's kind of the route they're going to go. Clean slate. Personally, I think they're going to focus on background characters more, unless they do a prequel series explaining Michael and maybe going more into depth of his individual childhood, like kind of what we got in the Rob Zombie, well, the first Rob Zombie, but I guess both, because the second one kind of also included some snapshots as well.
Right.
But I think maybe if they went with that aspect and made it more of a thriller, I think that could kind of make a lot of fans happy, because a lot of people in the community, you guys can all say, that the original Halloween film was itself a thriller. So to kind of bring it back to its thriller origins, suspenseful origins, why not go into his backstory and we kind of grow alongside Michael and we kind of see how he became who he is. This sort of stuff has been popular in the last few years. Joker, right? Mm-hmm. That's a film that me and Allan both like, and I think it executes that thriller style very easily.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we could have a film where, I mean, we've never had a film where we really felt bad for Michael. Maybe they have a film where you kind of sympathize for the devil in that aspect. That would be an interesting sort of film. Now, would it take off? Who knows? But I think just as a try, why not? Yeah. What do you think, Allan?
No, I definitely agree with Hoostan. I definitely think that, honestly, for a TV show, that kind of like ideology would work. Because if you just have it where, like in the movies, he's going around killing people and everyone's trying to stop him, I feel like that wouldn't kind of work, because they would have to kind of make it like a manhunt type thing where it's like you're going from place to place, and then it's like in a certain episode he's in one area, and then I feel like for what you were saying, where they kind of like delve into his origins, like how it was portrayed in Rob Zombie's films, I think that would make more sense, because again, it could be like a sympathize for the devil. You can kind of like, you know, they can make it where it's like in a way you feel bad for Michael. You know, they can kind of show his upbringing. Maybe they, again, for the lore and for like the tradition of the Halloween universe, it's not gonna, a lot of people aren't gonna like it. But even for something different, just to try it out, you know? Because when you look back at all of the other movies in the franchise that were, that were made,
yeah,
they cater to a certain audience, you know? And a lot of people say, oh, Halloween is the one movie that should have never made other movies. Like, the one movie was good. Which is fine. That's great to have that opinion, but also there was nothing wrong with all those other movies because it catered to a certain audience and it involved Michael, you know? So I think it would be really cool for the TV show if they go that route. I honestly would be interested because, again, I do also like origin stories. Like, I kind of want to see what made Michael do what he did. Now, also, a lot of really diehard Michael Myers fans are like, oh, but that's just going to ruin the mystique of the character, and that there's no point. I agree, but also, I'm all in for it. Also, like, I'm not afraid to see that, and it would be kind of cool for a TV show. Like, episode 1 would kind of like, maybe for example, like for the pilot, it kind of shows like, introduces Michael, and as like maybe like the shows, like the episodes go on, it kind of delves into his like psychopathic tendencies, like we saw on H2O, where he has this thing for murdering animals, like in Rob Zombie, where he's murdering the rat, and like they find it in his locker and in a bag, and then like in the original Halloween when he kills the dog and he eats the dog, and then Rob Zombie he kills the dog and eats it, and they show it in a very gory, fashionable way. So I think something like that for a TV show would be cool, because again, you kind of see his tendencies, but also there could be a real meaning behind it. Like again in Rob Zombie's Halloween, where it shows that his background was kind of like a white trash, kind of like redneck hillbilly upbringing. His mom was a prostitute, and her boyfriend was abusive. His sister was kind of like like what's a word I can use?
Promiscuous.
Promiscuous, yeah. Like her, like like being like having an outlandish kind of like thing of going on, and so that kind of would be cool to show. Okay, now that's what made him do what he did. Now again, mind you, a lot of people aren't going to like that, so they got But also that would, for other people, yeah, who may be like on the other side, who likes the true like lore of Michael, but also to kind of see something different. Because again, I've seen all these other movies and all the different approaches they take with it, and I'm all for it. I mean, well, I always loved the original lore, absolutely, but I also loved Halloween 4. I also loved Halloween 6 when they tried to do the whole thing, but including a sci-fi-ish cult thing. And even like with Halloween Ends, yeah, it wasn't the greatest, but the whole idea of it being an anthology kind of idea, all these ideas, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that happen in a show. Again, that is, in my opinion, if they go that route for a show. If they don't do that, then I don't know. But if they do something like that, then I would be totally up for seeing that.
What like a life story, like an origin story?
Yeah, like you were saying, like a life story, kind of showing Michael's descent, like from being like an innocent kid to kind of like being like a psychopath, like showing his psychopathic tendencies, like murdering animals, or maybe they can do. Like maybe he shows he gets bullied, but then it's like, and also in Rob Zombie, he murders the bully that bullied him. So maybe that can also kind of show that as well. Again, they can go many directions with that idea, because I think that would fit more for a TV show instead of, again, just having a TV show where it's Michael Myers, he does what he does, going around and killing people, because again, there's really no kind of like, what's the word? There's no
drive.
No drive, and it's just going to be like, which is nothing wrong with killing, but also there's got to be kind of like a story for a TV show. That is.
It could be that. Yeah, I mean, alternatively, things to look forward to seeing. Like, let's just shoot it out of the dark. Like, things that would be kind of cool to see. Something interesting would be if they go a complete anthology route, like continuing where 1 and 3 were supposed to be. So you have like your Michael Myers film, and then you have like an unrelated story that takes place essentially in the same universe per se, kind of, because Michael Myers is still like a thing that exists. You know what I mean? It'd be cool is like if they could kind of create I guess I really hate to like put all these, but like my Meyerverse theory that I have, where like like it's like like all the films are connected in some way, sort of thing. It's kind of a bullshit thing, honestly, but. What?
No. You continue, because I actually just thought of something. I just thought of another approach they can go with the TV show. But I'll let you finish.
All right. So yeah, I have this Meyerverse theory. Supposedly, it's a whole other topic, but basically that all the films are connected is a bullshit thing. Essentially, they're all connected, but I don't know how. Just a made up thing. But nonetheless, what if we take a little piece of that Meyerverse theory and we kind of apply it to 1 and 3, and we can connect now 3. Now the fans can stop complaining about 3 not having anything to do with the film, because maybe 1 and 3 are in fact connected. Maybe Michael Myers is a fictional character in 3 that's based on a real Michael Myers that actually exists in the world. Maybe it's not actually a fictitious guy. Maybe, it's the world is just an effed up world, and they like creating movies about real life bad people. You know what I mean? Like, imagine like a real serial killer nowadays, like a serial killer like I don't know, the one I can think off the top of my head, Ted Bundy. Imagine it's like, maybe that Michael is the Ted Bundy of that universe, and it'd be the real life equivalent, like Ted Bundy goes to outer space or something like that. That would be kind of more what I'm talking about. So essentially what I'm saying is, what if they end up sticking with the anthology route and having Michael Myers actually have a place in 3 and actually justify 3 existing? Because as of right now, the way that us Halloween fans see it, most of us anyways, as a grand scale thing, is that you kind of stop from 2 and then return back with 4. 3 just kind of exists there. It has nothing to do with anything. If we can maybe fix that, and maybe there's something where 3 now actually has a purpose, then you can kind of argue that it's all one shared universe or something like that. Then it kind of makes everything kind of a cohesive plot, thus justifying 3 being the only one. That's my theory. What are you thinking?
Oh, that's actually a good theory.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Mine was, they could also do is they can go a route where I kind of noticed it in Ends, where this idea, I know it totally wasn't there in the film, but the way I kind of looked at it, what if they did it where it's like, because Corey from Halloween Ends, like, he in a way became Michael, not in a way where it's like, he just wanted to do it because he wanted to do it. Something snapped in him to kind of like, because he got bullied, and then with everything going on in Haddonfield at the time, and then them thinking that, oh, he's another Michael Myers, because Michael Myers terrorized that town for 40 years, and everyone's just like, at this point, it's like, anyone could be a monster. It's kind of like what you're saying. It's like, it's a world of bad people, and they can do bad things, and there was a lot of crime that was going on. People were getting murdered, not from Michael, but for other people, because they were becoming like monsters like Michael. So what could maybe happen for a TV show is maybe there's like a spring of murders that are going around. This could be events after Michael's death and Ends, and they can do it where there's a new spree of murders happening, and they have to figure out who it is, and then they come to find out that it could be somebody who was obsessed with Michael. So it's kind of like Halloween 6, kind of like with the cult, where it's like with the cult of Thorn, and it passes on from after another, from generation to generation. Maybe they can do it like that. Maybe there's someone out there who's obsessed with Michael, like is infatuated with like him just killing just for the thrill of it. Playing the cat and mouse games like he usually does with people. So maybe there can be someone out there who gets so obsessed he kind of becomes Michael.
It could.
And then like
that would be stuff like that in H2O. Not H2O. We saw stuff like that in 6. Right? With Ant-Man. Yeah, Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because he plays Tommy. He plays Tommy Doyle. They could do that.
Like, it's something like what you were saying. Like, you have a super fan that, because like Corey, I wouldn't say is really a super fan of Michael. I think, imagine like a mix between Corey, I guess, and Paul Rudd's character, or Tommy Doyle. His version of Tommy Doyle. And if you combine that, you have like a Michael cult leader. I don't know. Maybe instead of making another timeline, maybe try and connect all the timelines. Maybe finally officially axe off certain timelines. Kind of have maybe a standard timeline, so that way everything kind of works. That's my thought, is streamline it. Have it where you can say that it all exists within the same realm. I know most fans might not like that because each film has its own quirks, but that would fix a lot of the bad films. And, you know, I think it'd be kind of a cool, ballsy way to kind of bring Halloween back, you know. It's not the way everyone's expected, but maybe that's what we need. We need something that I guess kind of makes sense.
Right.
Because we've had a lot of films in the franchise. Of all the 14 films, there are some that absolutely just don't make sense. So, I guess that's it for like what we expect, right?
Yeah, I mean, we pretty much said like, you know, ideas that could happen, and again, it may not be true. You know, these could be just our opinions, and then when they actually release something, and if the trailer comes out, or if they actually release info, it could be something completely different that we didn't expect.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's definitely taken a long time for them to, you know, put this TV show out. I mean, it was announced like a year ago, and we really haven't heard anything. So that it's been kind of quiet. It's kind of more what I'm going for.
Right.
And that leads me to think that they're really doing their homework. And I would imagine that they saw the response that they got from Halloween Ends, whether that's fan-wise, commercial-wise, in general. Maybe it didn't do as well as they hoped, or, you know, maybe it did well and they decided, or maybe it was good enough for them, and maybe they still decide they want to try something new. Who really knows what they want to do? They've been so quiet. They haven't really been dropping hints. And even more so, it's not like we have anything to grapple on because the last entry was the finale of a trilogy. So the sky's really the limit as to what they could pull. But I guess, what do we not want in the film? What are things that, or not film, TV show, what are things that we just, you know, like, you could do this, but you can't do this 100%? What is it? Be one thing, a few things, be anything. What do you think?
I'll let you start. I'm still trying to think of some.
I'm going to think of some myself. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to go take a look at the time we're at. We're at 27 minutes. Wow. A lot of time has passed. We really lost track of time. Well, not lost track of time, but wow, you know.
How long?
27.
Wow.
Yeah. We really enjoyed, of course, talking about Halloween.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I couldn't believe it was 27 minutes. But yeah, so we, what I think personally is I don't think we need Tina. Let's not bring back any side characters.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, you know, don't try not to bring back so many like characters that were well known for the franchise. Maybe try to like do something new.
Yeah, because I think we have a few different attempts at Tommy Doyle. I think maybe we kind of put Tommy Doyle as a character to rest for now, possibly. Yeah. Unless you do something where, you know, like a Paul Rudd is like a Paul Rudd, Corey Cunningham hybrid thing, something like that. Yeah, but I think it's best you start from scratch, because I think they've been using a lot of the same characters for, you know, they have been using the same characters for the last over 40 years. So I know it's a controversial opinion, but I know Jamie Lee Curtis is pretty much done. I don't think they should replace Jamie Lee Curtis with another actress that is also playing the same role, or actor. Maybe they want to have a male lead or whatever. But the point still stands is I think they should just kind of leave it at that and maybe officially move on. They could have actually done something like that with Resurrection, but they chose to kind of screw it up. I know when I mentioned Resurrection, everyone's hair on their arms and legs just shot up. But I think Resurrection kind of had an interesting idea with it of killing off Jamie Lee Curtis's character. At the time, I don't think it made sense to a lot of people, but now certainly it definitely makes a lot of sense, as even Jamie Lee Curtis has officially said that she's done, completely done, even though she was already done before. But now it really seems like she's definitely done. I think she's it definitely seems like she's kind of dialing back on her film roles. You don't really hear much about her. And she's getting older as well. So that makes more sense. It seems more plausible that this actually might be the end of Jamie Lee Curtis in the Halloween films. So a lot of people might say, so what do you think, Justin? Or who's done? Well, personally, I think that, maybe we'll get Jamie Lee Curtis as a cameo, as Jamie Lee Curtis's character, you know, but we have like another main lead, you know what I mean? We have a new main lead. How could that work? I'm not too sure, you know what I mean? They could kind of rewrite it. I mean, they could have the same basic formula that, like, you know, you still have a sister or brother, you still have a sibling character that has a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, and he kills the boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, and, you know, that could all still be done, whether they gender swap it or whatever the heck they decide to do. I think keeping the names new would actually be kind of an interesting take, and it would really make it more of a reboot, because we all know they're probably going to reboot Halloween as a franchise with this TV show, so you might as well reboot it in a sense to where you could fully say it's rebooted, because I would rather that than, you know, see someone's attempt at being Jamie Lee Curtis, you know what I mean? I'd rather it be an original character. So that's my thought process. That's something I would like to see, definitely. Something I don't want to see is a lot of the background characters. You know, like, I want to see some new stuff. You know, we've been seeing these characters for 40 years ish. So let's see some new stuff. You know, what do you think?
Well said. First and foremost.
Thanks, bud.
I would say I would like to see kind of like more unique ways that Michael kills, because we got a lot of good ones as the movie's evolution went on. Like from the beginning, like he just does like, you know, mostly like stack. You know, he uses a knife, or he does like more subdued kills, like he wrapped a phone cord around someone's throat and, like, you know, suffocated them. The infamous pinning the guy in the pantry scene, or, you know, and then as time went on, it would be, you know, like showing the gore and like crushing someone's face in, or like using different objects. I kind of want to see that more in the TV show, because I feel like if they really amp up the kills, that'll really show how dangerous Michael is. You know, or the character, because, you know, especially in the specifically the Rob Zombie universe, which is Hustan's favorite universe of Michael.
100%.
Especially the first one definitely did, but the second one really had the most brutal, most intense, like, killing moments that Michael has done. And then, of course, in the David Gordon Green series too, you know, I would like to see more, like, kind of more interesting ways of, you know, besides the traditional Michael using his knife, the kitchen knife, which is of course, like, you know, synonymous to his character, which is great. But I feel like the more like cool kills would kind of like really amp up like the real thrill shock factor of, wow, Michael really is a dangerous, you know, person.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think to add to yours, I think they should add some more of those creative camera angles we saw in Kills.
That too, like more good camera shots as well.
That could, I think, because obviously